Okay, I'm like legit excited to do this.
I want some rest. Are we having fun yet?
All right, you guys have no idea. I've been wanting to do this for so long, okay? I'm just so excited to actually do this. So this is going to be my mock draft for the first round, full first round. As you already know, I already did the lottery, okay? I did one of the lottery, and one thing that I did, and I'm not going to do it this time, but one thing I did with that list is I had about 30 to 40 to 80 tabs up, okay? I'm just kidding. It was like 32 tabs. And I went from point to point to point to point to kind of pinpoint why I thought that those teams would take those players. But I'm not going to necessarily do that with this one. Now, my lottery remained the same. I'm just changing like one player since then. I've changed my mind. But other than that, it's going to remain the same. And I'm going to try my best to kind of explain super briefly, okay? I don't want this to be a super long video. Super briefly why these teams might take these specific players. And then I'm just going to kind of move on. So in the comments, if there's anything that you have contention with, I'll try my best to respond or what my thought process was, but overall, I'm just going to try to go through these. I have a list right here of the players that I came up with, and I used the same type of ideology that I did with the lottery, in which I looked at what teams kind of want some of the players they've been looking at. And one thing that I added with this, especially outside the lottery, is I wanted to look at a lot of blog posts of what fans are saying as well, because you would know your team better than I would, right? So I just got an overall feel, and then I said, all right, now I'm gonna put my 2 cents in. So let's go ahead and go through this. We're gonna go through the lottery once again. I'm not gonna explain it too much, but just bear with me. So the first overall pick is the Orlando Magic, and same as my lottery, I have them taking Chet Holmgren. I know a lot of people say Jabari Smith. Chet Holmgren is not a bad pick at all, and obviously I did that because if you watch the other video, they were crazy about Mo Bamba. A lot of things that they said about Mo Bamba back then, it kind of relates more so to Chet Holmgren than anyone else in this draft. But if they take Jabari Smith, I'm not surprised. Number 2, OKC. I think that they're just going to take the best player available right there. I'm going with Ben Caro. So I have them taking Ben Caro at number 2. All right, so we have, this is our draft thus far. Chet Holmgren, Ben Caro. Hope you guys see that. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. You're good. You're all right. You guys okay? All right, and I have it's crazy that's all in order. I actually do have Houston taking Jabari Smith. I guess it wasn't in order. Boom, Jabari Smith. I have the Kings with the 4th overall pick. Now, initially I said Shaedon Sharpe because the Kings are just so weird and so strange. I was like, they're going to take Shaedon Sharpe. Now, my thoughts have changed tremendously, only because Shaedon Sharpe, there's so much bad things coming out from NBA execs, which it might just be a way of trying to bring him down a notch so he can actually fall to a different team. More than likely, that's what's going on right now. But I just don't know if the Kings actually will take that swing. But Jaden Ivey, I have them taking Jaden Ivey nonetheless, and I think that would be a good one. That's the only thing that changed out of my lottery. Moving on, Mathurin. I have Mathurin going to the Detroit Pistons, which makes a lot of sense. He can play off ball and on ball. It brings some defense, and on top of it, they want a guy that's already pretty NBA ready. And that whole Dwayne Casey story on like how he approaches draft pick. Oh wow, thank you for the sub, like right in the middle of recording. But anyways, one thing that he talks about is that he wants a guy who make their bed in the morning to show that they have discipline and blah blah blah. Look, they've shown a lot of interest in Mathurin, and I think that he would fit with the team. And not only that, he is a very disciplined player. So I'm going with him. Boom boom. All right, so next we have the Indiana Pacers, and I think most people would agree with this. Keegan Murray just makes the most sense. I'm not going to go too into that, but yeah, Keegan Murray. I'm going with Keegan Murray, especially with them no longer having Sabonis, and yeah, we don't have to go into that. All right, next I have the Blazers. Now the Blazers, this was one where I was like, obviously they're going to pick the best player available. Now, I'm not going to look at this because I think some people look at this and say, what do the team need? This is bogus. You don't really need to look at that. Really, what it comes down to is they got rid of CJ McCollum. You're going to need somebody to team up with Dame Lillard, and they've been very open that they don't mind taking a 2-guard. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go with Johnny Davis. He brings really great defense, and he's He's a really good scorer, and I could definitely just see him with the Blazers. Maybe that's my bias, but I could definitely see it. All right, so I'm going with Johnny Davis there. Next, we have New Orleans Pelicans. So thus far, this is what we're looking like. Looking all pretty. All right, so the Pelicans. I actually have, and Pelican fans disagree with me with this on the lottery video. I don't really care. I'm just kidding. I care, guys. I'm going with AJ Griffin at number 7. And the reason being, they really need a catch and shooter. He's a great catch and shooter. Actually, he's the best catch and shooter in the draft. So I think they would be pretty good with AJ Griffin. And they already have their team pretty established. I mean, just grab AJ Griffin. All right, moving on. Who do we have next? We have my San Antonio Spurs. I've explained this plenty of times in other videos for Spurs fans, so you guys don't really have to. Yeah. Look, Dyson Daniels. I have them taking Dyson Daniels. Agree or disagree, I have my Spurs taking Dyson Daniels. All right, now, number 10. Now, this is where things get a little dicey, okay? At this point, Shane Sharp, as we can see, he was supposed to go 5 or top 5, top 3, top 4. He didn't do himself any good. He didn't do himself any good, not doing anything in the combine. That did not help him whatsoever, in which I think that him and his agents thought that it would. It did not. But with that being said, look, he's still available. You take that swing. While I don't think the Spurs would take that swing, I could see the Wizards doing that. Why not? So I have the Washington Wizards taking Shaedon Sharpe. Very good player. And as you can see, his stat line is he has no stats. He hasn't played. He hasn't played, but he has a lot of potential there. So I'm going with him. All right, next we have, who do we have? We have the Knicks, New York Knicks. So right now, I don't even know why I'm looking at my phone. It has it right here. Oh my goodness. So scrolling down, this we have thus far. Looking pretty. I like this. I like this lottery. All right, so New York Knicks. New York Knicks, I actually have them taking Sohan at that number 11 spot. Why do you ask? Well, I have them taking them because Thibodeau just loves defensive guys. Jeremy Sohan, that's all he talks about is his defense. And he is a good defender. He could potentially guard 1 through 4. I mean, maybe 2 through 5. It really depends. I don't know. It really depends. But he's a phenomenal defender. A lot of upside there. He just has to work on his shot. And that's one thing where people will sit back and say, well, why would we take him? But he is a project. But at the same time, I think that he will fit in well with Thibodeau. So I'm going to go with Jeremy Sohan. All right. So I need to stop doing that. I keep looking at my phone. Number 12. So OKC, they already got their guy who is very talented in the lottery. I think they have, me personally, I think they have the best player in the draft in Ben Carroll. So if they're going to go ahead and use this next one, why not use it for something that you need? And what they need is a little bit of defense. I'm going to go with Tari Eason. I think that would be a really good pick for them. Really good scorer, really good defender, a lot of Kawhi Leonard tendencies. I'm going with my boy Tari Eason. And guys, I'm being very unbiased because I want the Spurs to get him. All right, so next we have, I'll keep looking at my phone. It's right here, okay? Knock it off. Charlotte Hornets. All right, the Charlotte Hornets. Who will the Charlotte Hornets take? Well, the Charlotte Hornets, they've been making some really good moves, okay? And I also believe that they're in a position now where I think their team is pretty established. Like, they have a very good team. It's just a matter of putting it together and you know, that's starting to equate to wins. So why not just draft based on what you need with them in particular? And I think Jalen Duren will be a phenomenal pick for them. So I'm going with Jalen Duren at that 13th spot. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right, Cleveland Cavaliers. This one, and you know, if you watch my lottery video, this one I was kind of hung up on, but I'm gonna go ahead and just go with Abaji. I think that he fits with them pretty well. Good 3-and-D player, but not only that, one thing about him as well is that he's been very open about wanting to play for the Cavs. Like he was very open. It wasn't one of those typical like, oh no, I think playing for this team would be nice, that every single prospect does every single time that they interview for every single team. It wasn't like that. Like, he went out of his way to say, yeah, those other teams are cool, but Cavs the one I want. So I'm gonna go with Abaji there at that 14th spot. I'm not looking down at my phone, okay? Charlotte Hornets at 15th, okay? I actually saw it. All right, so Charlotte Hornets, I actually have them, once again, they're really good in their front office. They kind of got their needs pretty well, I would say. I think that they're pretty Gucci, okay? Pretty Gucci gang. And I was thinking about who's a player that's kind of moving up that people aren't really talking about. that could potentially land right outside the lottery. And the Charlotte Hornets, I think that they could really utilize a guy like this. Now, who am I talking about? Well, oh gosh, they got him at 28. Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams really impressed at the combine. A lot of teams are interested in him, and I wouldn't be surprised by any means if they say, screw it, we're going to go ahead and go after him. Just very good combo guard, and he could fit with almost any team. So that was my thought process there. But not only that, I also saw like quite a few Charlotte Hornets fans saying, grab him. And, you know, they kind of believe that they could use that. But really, actuality, I didn't base it just on that. Jalen Williams would fit with any team. I think that it's only reasonable to think that he could go 15. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Jalen Williams at 15. So thus far, this is what we're looking at. This looks pretty, man. It's so pretty. So beautiful. All right. Okay, so next we have the Atlanta Hawks. So this one, it might be pretty controversial. I'm not sure. But when it comes to the Atlanta Hawks, me personally, looking, outsider looking in, I think that they could really utilize someone that could take a little bit more heat off of Trae Young. Like, one thing that people don't really talk about when it comes to Trae Young is how good of a facilitator he is. Me personally, and I could be wrong, but me personally, people always make these comparisons to Trae Young and Steph Curry, and I see it, I understand that. But at the same time, Trae Young is not going to be able to just hold the fort by himself, okay? He's going to need somebody a little bit larger who can create their own shot, get some of that pressure off of him, and someone who could really, he could utilize maybe in a pick and pop situation. But really, I'm thinking, look, who's somebody you can give it to, get out the way, let them go to work, just so you can have a breather here and there. And that player is Malachi. So I have Malachi going to the Atlanta Hawks. Makes a lot of sense to me. I also believe I don't have the tab up, but I also believe the Atlanta Hawks are interested in him. I'm not, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that was my thought process going into this one. So right now I just have a list of all the players. I don't have my notes on the particular thing that I'm looking at. So Malachi, I have them taking Malachi. So thus far, that's what we're looking at. If you want to just pause. Okay. All right. Next. We have the Houston Rockets. So Houston Rockets already got Jabari Smith. And let's see. For me personally, just looking at their team, looking at who they've been pretty interested in, and on top of it, let's just be honest, John Wall, they're going to try their best to get rid of that contract. Why not just get a player that kind of fits into that mold, who you can kind of get at point guard? And that player for me will be Ty Washington. I think he will be the best, which they have it as this too, but I'm not necessarily going off of that. But I would think that he will be the best point guard available at that spot. So I'm gonna go with Ty Washington. But yeah, I think I really like Ty. I like Ty a lot. All right, so let's go to the Chicago Bulls. All right, Chicago Bulls, they're a team to me, even without LaVine, I think they're pretty doggone established. I think they're very competitive, and I think that they're ready to go into that step, because a lot of teams, they try to say, okay, we need these positions, like we need to go after this specific position, but it's like, you need to go after the best player available because your team is not talented enough. But that is not the case for Chicago Bulls. I think that it's safe to say I can go directly by position when it comes to Chicago Bulls. And what do they need? Well, they need a little bit of defense inside that paint. So I'm going to go with Mark Williams. I have Mark Williams going to the Chicago Bulls. Makes a lot of sense to me. Let me know if it makes sense to you. He's more of a traditional big. Can do a little bit of, offense, a little bit of defense, but overall, overwhelmingly, I think that he would fit in very well with that Bulls team, even if LaVine's gone. So that's who I have them taking. Now we have the Timberwolves. Now, for the Timberwolves, man, this is a vibe, okay? This is more of a vibe check, and you might get angry with me on this one. I didn't necessarily go off of need with them necessarily. It's just watching them, because I saw quite a few Wolves games this season. Watching them, it's just a whole vibe, man. It's just a whole vibe. I was just thinking, who could fit with this team? Because they're kind of a gritty team. They remind me so much of the Memphis Grizzlies, to be honest with you. So I'm like, who just fits their mode? Who fits what they do well? And who fits that grittiness, that grind, that nastiness? And I'm going to go ahead and go with, you might not like this, but Kennedy Chandler. I think he's going to be pretty good once he gets to the NBA. I think he'll be able to facilitate fairly well, create his own shot, but overwhelmingly his defense is really, really good. And I think that somehow, some way, the Wolves will be able to implement a player like this and be perfectly fine. So I'm going with that. I know that might be kind of a controversial one, but yeah, that was a vibe check for me. Okay, that was a straight up vibe check. So don't get too angry with me on that one. So thus far, this is what we got. And the biggest shocker I would say that people might say from this thus far that we're going through is maybe Shaedon Sharpe going to 10, but I don't even think that's, is that crazy? I don't even know if that's that crazy. Him going to 10 right now with all the stuff getting out. All right, so next we have my San Antonio Spurs. I'm not gonna really harp on this because I already done videos on it, but I have the Spurs going with potential, nice IQ, could play defense, very athletic. Yeah, I'm going with MarJon. And on top of it, he has been very open about wanting to play for the San Antonio Spurs. And I believe the workouts went well. Don't quote me on that. I believe the workouts went well. But they've already interviewed him, worked him out and everything. So they like him. So, or I think they like him. But he likes the Spurs. We know that. All right, so I'm going with MarJon. Boom. All right, so the Spurs take MarJon at 20. All right, 21, we have the Denver Nuggets. Now, this was one where not only did I find that quite a few people thought that this would be a good way to go about it, but I also want to look into, okay, who have they shown any type of interest in? I saw an article on this player and I said, okay, yeah, I got a little interest there. And then I said, all right, now I need to just think about what type of team do the Nuggets have? The Nuggets are pretty established, I think. You got your superstar. Just keep building around your superstar. I didn't want to overthink this one. And I said, who's the player that would fit right in with what they do? And me personally, I'm going to go with Kendall Brown. I mean, the way that he is off ball, his cutting. I mean, Jokic would just have a field day with a player like this. They don't necessarily, in my opinion, need a player that could potentially be a superstar or potentially be a star. They don't have to draft solely on potential here. I think Kendall Brown, he does have nice potential, but at the same time, he will fit in so well with Jokic. Like, it will be a headache. So I'm going to go with Kendall Brown at 21 for the Nuggets. All right, moving on up. Moving on up, or moving on down, actually. We have the, why did I look down at my thing? Oh my God. I don't know why I keep doing that. We have the Memphis Grizzlies. It's literally right here on the clock. Memphis Grizzlies. Oh my God. So Memphis Grizzlies. So Memphis Grizzlies was also kind of, well, it wasn't so much a vibe check, other than I was thinking, I watch a lot of Memphis Grizzlies game, okay? A lot of them. I'm from Memphis, if you guys didn't know that. So I am from Memphis. So I catch so many Grizzlies games. And one thing that I've noticed, and people will probably disagree with this, but I really think Ja needs his second guy. Jaren Jackson, I understand that he is the second best player on the team, but sometimes he just puts his shoulder down and just throws the ball up, man. It's not a pretty game, okay? And I'm not necessarily saying, oh no, you need to replace Jaren Jackson. No, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. He's an excellent shot blocker, blah, blah, blah. But I think Ja needs a second guy that can be kind of a bucket getter. And when I think about a bucket getter, I think of Jaden Hardy. I think even with all the players available, he's the biggest bucket getter. So I'm gonna go with Jaden Hardy for the Memphis Grizzlies. I think it makes sense. Him teamed up with Ja Morant, you take a lot of heat off of Ja, and hopefully he stays healthy. Ja is always hurt. All right, but Jaden Hardy, boom. All right, so thus far, this is what we're looking at. Oh, it's so pretty. This is a good list. I don't know. You guys can tell me it's a bad list. I don't care. I think this is a good list. This is a nice list. All right, we'll go over all of them at the very end. All right, so next we have, oh my God, I looked down at my phone again, but let me just see who the player is. We have the 76ers, right? My brain went numb. Okay, 76ers. See, once again, they say severe point guard, severe power forward. Yeah, I'm not looking at that. What the Sixers need, in my opinion, is a shooter. Okay, while I love me some Danny, all right, Danny is the most inconsistent shooter of all time. He's just so inconsistent. And then the injury doesn't help. They just really, in my opinion, need someone who's a shooter. They're pretty established already. Just get somebody that Joel Embiid can kind of toss it out to, or James Harden can toss it out to, and they can get you buckets. So I was thinking, well, who's the best catch and shoot, or who has the biggest upside as far as shooting threes in the players that's left. And I'm going with Christian Braun. So hopefully I said that right. I always say names wrong sometimes. We're going with Christian. I know that's how you say it. So Christian, I'm going with Christian. Phenomenal shooter, like really, really good shooter. He's going to make his way in the NBA. He fits perfect in the modern NBA. So yeah, I'm going with Christian there. All right. So next we have we have the Bucks. Now for the Bucks, we have, let's see. We're on the 24th. Okay. Sorry guys. I do have quite a few things on this. Okay. So the Bucks, it was also kind of a vibe check. I'll be honest. It was kind of a vibe check. Once again, they're another team that's already established. And for what they kind of need, it wasn't really a player there where I said, oh yeah, that's definitely someone they need to go after. But I sat back and I said, all right, why don't you just go for another player that kind of adds on to what you do well, you know, as far as defense, that grittiness. And I'm going to go ahead and go with EJ. All right. So I have them taking EJ Liddell at the 24th spot. And I think it makes sense. You can tell me if it doesn't, but I think it makes sense. He has pretty decent upside, and I think he will fit in perfect with that team somehow, some way. Not only that, I know he's a power forward, and people might say, well, he's a power forward, but keep in mind, especially in the playoffs, they didn't play some of their power forwards. I'm just gonna throw that out there, okay? I'm just throw that out there. All right. So next we have my San Antonio Spurs. So for this one, I went with the guy, and I already talked about it in other videos, obviously, but I went with the guy that they've shown a lot of interest in, who's moving up in the boards. And oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to him. Jeez. But he's moving up in the boards, and he's also a guy that is a bucket getter. Like Manu Ginobili likes him. The Spurs got their eye on him, and everything has been ghost ever since they spoke with him. So I think that the Spurs are going to try to make a move for Gabriel Procida. So I have them taking Gabriel Procida at 25. He's going to be a shocker, but I think nonetheless they will take him. But yeah, he does a lot of great things. I really like him. I think he will be, me personally, like one of the biggest steals of this draft. So I have them taking Procida. All right. Because he's not going to be available at 38. That's my opinion. Anyways, all right. So, the Mavs. Okay, I like this pick a lot. All right, so when it comes to the Mavs, I was just thinking, all right, it's another one of those that's going to be pretty controversial, okay? I was thinking, what do they need? But not only that, what's a player, or who's a player that they've shown a lot of interest in? And who's a player that just fits so perfect next to Luka? Because once again, they're a team that's pretty established, okay? You got Luka, you got your boy Tim Hardaway, and obviously you have Jalen Brunson. Why is he so far down here? I think they're gonna bring him back. I don't think he walks. But good lord, man, just they're going off a salary. How is he getting paid 1.6? All right, that's beside the point, guys. I'm getting distracted. All right, so I was just thinking, what do they need? They need a center, and who's the center that they've shown the most interest in? Well, they've shown the most interest in Jalen Williams, which a lot of people are like, no, dude, he's gonna go late second. He's legit, okay? He's a sleeper as well. He's legit. He can create for his teammates. He can play a plethora of different roles, but overall, overwhelmingly, I think he will work pretty well with that team and work well with Luka. So I'm gonna go with Jalen Williams, which I know that's a controversial one. All right, so next we have, let's see, we have the Miami Heat. So the Miami Heat is kind of a tricky one for me. I was thinking, well, you think they're gonna try to trade Kyle Lowry, but I don't think so. Do they need a point guard? I guess possibly a decent backup point guard, but I just don't know. So I kind of just looked at what the consensus is around the league as far as the Miami Heat. And a lot of people talk about how they kind of need defense. Maybe they could use a 3-and-D type player. And I was like, I mean, there's quite a few of those left, but not really. So I was like, why don't they just go with upside? A guy that can play defense, a guy that can create his own shot. And, you know, I think that he would fit in well with the team. And that player is Jang. Okay, I really like Jang. So, but yeah, I have them taking Jang. He's a bucket getter. He can play very good defense. He's 6'10", might still be growing. I don't know, probably not. But he's 6'10", can create his own shot, and I think that he will fit in fine with the Miami Heat. He can do quite a few things, pretty versatile. But defense, if you want some defense, he's not a bad defender by any means. So I'm gonna go with Zhang. Boom. All right, so I got the Miami Heat taking Zhang. Now, all right, for the Warriors, I was thinking once again, they're established, they're good. All right, they're fine. Really, when it comes to the Warriors, especially if you're picking freaking 28th, bro, you really just want a player that can kind of get your other guys involved. I mean, you already have Jordan Poole, you already have Steph Curry, you already have Clay. You're good. Like you're pretty set as far as your shooters. Your team is established. You went to the finals. You're fine. So what is it that you could just use at this pick? And I said, well, let's just pick the most refined player, a guy that is pretty ready, NBA ready, and once he gets there, he's really good at facilitating as well. Pretty similar to what Draymond Green is doing, but he actually has offensive upside. I mean, don't get me wrong, Draymond Green was a monster like a few years ago, okay? But right now as it stands, it's not pretty. I'm going with Wendell Moore. I think that's a really good spot pick for them. Excuse me. And to me, it makes the most sense. So I'm going to go with Wendell Moore. He gets his teammates involved, really good facilitator. And he has offensive upside as well. And a good defender, very good defender. So he fits in with the Warriors very well. High IQ player, very high IQ. So it makes sense to me. Just go with the guy that's more refined. All right, so we got the Memphis Grizzlies once again. So with the Memphis Grizzlies, this time I was like, all right, you got your shooter next to Ja. Now, why not go for a guy that you obviously want? Okay, you already trade away Valanciunas. You tried to get Steven Adams more involved, and Steven Adams, just be honest, injuries, age is not doing him any favors right now. Okay, it's not doing him any favors. But who's a guy that can kind of come into that role, who will be down the line probably an upgrade? Not to say Steven Adams is bad by any means, but as it stands right now, this will be an upgrade. And I said, why not Walker Kessler? Because this guy is probably, some people argue that he's the best defensive center in the draft. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Even the big man he played with, Jabari Smith, I mean, he would have got more blocks, if it weren't for Kessler. So I don't know. Who knows? But Kessler was a monster. Okay, defensive monster. Makes sense. Big frame, can give you some nice screens for Ja. Good rebounder. It just makes sense. It just makes complete sense. Won't necessarily depend on him to be like a star or star scorer or anything like that. He's more of a kind of put the ball back, kind of a traditional big, sort of. But overall, I'm probably harping on this too much. Walker Kessler just makes the most sense for the Memphis Grizzlies to me at that spot. Boom. All right, so we have the last pick, and I had a very hard time with this. But you know what? Why not at this point, especially if you're OKC? You got the best player in the draft, in my opinion. You already got Eason, who's a huge sleeper in this draft, and he brings you a little bit of defense. At this point, why not just have a little bit of fun with this pick? This might be a bad pick. You tell me how you feel. But I said just have some fun. Go with a guy that has somewhat upside. And just, deal with the consequences of that. Maybe even send them, over to the G League for you. Who knows? But just have fun with this. I'm going to go with Jovic. I do not think that Jovic makes it out of the first round. I'm not sure if he goes to the second round. There's been quite a few risers recently. I think Dalen Terry is even one that people have talked about has risen to the occasion. No, but has risen. But Jovic is one that makes complete sense for me. Just get the guy with the most upside. He's already on the board. It's like, do you really want to pass up? I don't know. But you guys let me know what you think of that one. So yeah, so that is my first round. Please let me know how you feel about it. So let's just go straight through them. So Chet Holmgren, well, you can see it. I'm not going to go through it. You guys aren't like freaking preschoolers. I mean, you're good. You can read. But yeah, just let me know what you think of this. The ones that I found that might shock some people is probably AJ Griffin at the Pelicans, but like I said, he's the best catch and shooter in the draft. I just think that would be a good spot. But then again, them passing up on Dyson Daniels, that's like, really? Come on. Shane Sharp going to 10 is probably a surprising one. Sohan at the Knicks is probably a surprising one for people. Jalen Williams, I don't think this should be a surprise, especially if you heard any buzz around him. Moving on, Malachi to me makes sense. Ty might be a shocker, not sure. Mark Williams. Kennedy Chandler is probably a one that people say, I don't know about that one. Any more? Prochita, maybe, for the Spurs. No one saw that. Jalen Williams is going to be one where it's like, bro, you can wait till... No. Jalen Williams has been moving up, if you've been keeping up. Jang, yeah. I don't think there's that many shockers here, but like I said, let me know what you think. This was a lot of fun to do. It took me some time. I know that the way that I went about this might have been just kind of lazy, like, oh, just get on here and like put all this stuff together. But I actually did do research behind it, and I looked at quite a few things before I made these picks. And I'm pretty familiar with these players, but let me know what you think in the comments. If you disagree, that's cool. We'll talk about it. But if you agree, that's cool too. So get with you guys later, man. Thanks for all the support. If you want to support the channel, it's only $2 a month. Patreon and YouTube member links in the description. It's only $2 if you want to help your boy out. I'll get with you guys later. Until next time, deuces, man.